So Gil, you are the founder of MECALC, and we find ourselves in this perfect surrounding in South African bush to explain a little bit about who MECALC is. Maybe you want to start at the very beginning, 35 years ago.
35 years ago, so let's calculate
or maybe,
that is.
Maybe that's not even the beginning. Maybe start where you got your PhD.
Well, MECALC probably started when I was in London doing my PhD at Imperial College, where my field of research was fracture mechanics, which meant that one had to see how cracks propagate through metals and other materials. And I saw all my colleagues were looking through microscopes and really doing a miserable job. Every hour they went down to look to see where the crack was. Sometimes the crack hadn't propagated, and then they had to do adjustments to the load settings. It was really miserable. So fortunately, as a child at school still, I played with electronics, and I had some electronic background. So looking at this, I said, surely there must be some electronic way of doing this. So I went back and designed an instrumentation method of doing this measurement, and developed something which was pretty unique. That's obviously where the masters came from. And then I was asked to carry on with a PhD, and then I went one step further to then drive the testing machine with the computer to then automatically, using an algorithm, then decide what the next load setting must be to then monitor and control the crack. So this was about 1978 or so. Personal computers just started with the first Apple, and there was an equivalent computer to that, which was going to be a competitor called the Commodore computer. And I used that then to drive or to control the testing machine. And I probably spent 2 years designing, making, and using this control system to drive the testing machine. And where other people were doing tests within like 1 week for one specimen, I was able to do a specimen within a day. And I was able to generate an enormous amount of data, and of course a lot finer control, probably 100 times better control than what they were able to do manually, and able to achieve results which really were abnormally good compared to what they did, just because their technique was just so clumsy. And at the same time, because my salary at that stage was terribly low, I was being sponsored by a company at home, that I then decided to take some of the work which I had done and sell it. But then mainly not for the testing and measurement type of industry, but just to connect this particular computer, this Commodore computer, which I had, to connect that to big mainframes. And without the single advertisement, just word of mouth, I was able to sell 50 of these things and then supplement my salary. The nice thing about that, it taught me a little bit about how difficult and also how easy it is to, and how rewarding it is to actually design, make, and sell these things.
Which is really what MECALC does.
It does. And then I returned back home, and then was given after 2 years, I was offered a professorship. I was offered a professorship at university in Pretoria, a good university, very good university, where I spent then 7 years working there. And part of, or within 2 years of starting there, I thought, let me start a company again, was given permission to do it, and then started MECALC. And the first contract we got then was to write software to also drive testing machines, but far more, not only one axis, but 16 axes. And we wrote the software and then presented the software, and it was fascinatingly good to a German customer, which we had at that stage. From there onwards, we went sold to BMW in Munich for a number of years. We also developed other systems, not part of BMW or not for BMW, for other military customers. We did, for instance, ground vibration testing with 8 channels of control and 400 channels of measurement.
That's for satellite testing?
For testing of aircraft.
Okay.
Testing of aircraft to see what the resonances of the aircraft are. We also developed systems for testing of satellites, where we had 1,000 channels of measurement. And with that funding which we had, so our cash flow was good, we then sought to see with the other partners. And then BMW suggested that we should speak to a German company in Munich called Müller BBM, which we then approached. They had also been approached by the same BMW customer, saying they should find a good hardware partner which has better hardware than they were currently selling them. And then it was virtually a 5-hour meeting which we had, and the decision was made that we should carry on working together. And that was in 1999 where we got together, and probably at the start of the year, at the end of the year, we were selling the first systems already to BMW. And 3 of the first systems which were ever sold to BMW, the sectional head of that division, he's now got those systems at home as mementos, where he obviously enjoyed having them. Which is nice to see that he was himself proud, even though we thought those systems weren't actually so good. But I suppose that's part of development. What we develop now is not good compared to what it could be in 5 years' time.
And the hippo thought that was good, I think.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, so here we're sitting in the bush, and it's actually, this is part of the inspiration which a bush brings, so it made us think about doing this video now.
Yeah, and I think we've been meaning to do a bit of a video to explain who MECALC is for a while, and now, while being here on holiday over Easter in this beautiful environment, it was the first time we really felt inspired to do it in a natural setting, and something that means a lot to us and means a lot to the country that we come from, and is really one of the best parts of the country that we come from. So South Africa has got this incredible mix of technology and hardworking people, and we are able to have production on site at MECALC that we can produce and design in the same place, which I think has done a lot towards our quality, which maybe we should chat a little bit about as well. But before we chat about that, can we finalize, is it MECALC or MECALC?
Yeah, so the name started, it was virtually an instantaneous decision to say what the company must be called. So the company was started in 1984, and I was working hard as a professor, and also as a consultant then, is also starting MECALC, or MECALC.
Or studying LMS, I think, as well. You
we were selling
days,
LMS too, and that was before selling LMS. But anyway, that we had to find a name, and I was the managing director. We had 2 other directors, which were senior people at the university, and I had to come up with a name. So I thought one night, and before the board meeting which we had, where we were going to decide on the name, and I gave them 2 proposals, of which one was MECALC.
What was the other one?
The other one was MECOMP, for computation.
So it's mechanical calculations.
So it's mechanical engineering calculations or mechanical engineering computation. And they said they prefer the MECALC. And that's where it stuck. And we still got it. We're proud of it. Maybe not, it's a name which is not as no, laugh that off.
Very proud of it. Full stop.
It's not a stupid name like
no, don't mention stupid names.
Like Green Bush. They're sometimes called companies these days.
Yeah, but on our products that Müller BBM has sold for the last 20 years, PAC MK2, you'll see a MECALC design. And some people have often said to me, does that mean you only design products? But I think your inspiration for that came from the Porsche kettle that you had. Or it was a kettle that was...
No, that actually came before that.
Okay.
What was nice that after the MECALC design, I saw a Porsche design. No, it says Porsche design.
Designed by Porsche.
Designed by Porsche.
Yeah.
And then that gave me some confidence in what we had actually done.
Well, so Apple's designed in California.
Yeah, we didn't want to brand our... Yes, indeed. So we didn't want to brand our hardware explicitly, because BBM was selling it. So we had to have a subtle way of showing that. And the MECALC design was, we thought, the right way of doing it. But basically means that we're proud of everything which sits inside that product, from the concept to the design, to the development process thereafter, which is amazingly long, because one has to optimize the design, which you can only do, you initially do with simulation, and then thereafter you do with testing, or verification, and then to the production, that it embodies this whole feeling of perfectionism as much as far as that we can actually stretch it.
And the technology, I mean, that was really part of it, is that one thing is to design the technology in from the very start, but you also have to produce it at that technology. And I remember having issues where we did have subcontractors that weren't able to do it for us. And we realized the frustration of that was energy spent in the wrong direction. And let's rather put the energy in the team working together. And I think that's really the culture that we have of MECALC now, or MECALC now, which is 100 people big here.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. The advantage now is that because we have electronic production, which is also electronic production of prototypes, as well as also mechanical production, which is also manufacture of prototypes as well. It's all in one place that we can, our sales management can define priorities.
Yeah.
And even though production is working hard, we can still make a gap of a day to produce something which is required for a prototype. But otherwise, we'll be told, or previously we were told, 3 months' time we can get this prototype going.
Yeah.
And that wasn't worth it. And then, as you said now, the spirit of those people is the same spirit as what we have all over the company. And we do have lunches together where those people can mix and discuss things. Invariably, half of their discussion during lunchtime is work.
Yeah.
And they can sort out their little problems, personal problems very often, and before they become big.
Yeah, so we really become the MECALC team, which I think BMW coined how many years ago?
No. So everyone who comes and visits us, which included BMW, find the team inspirational, enthusiastic and inspirational.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we even had a few people to say, don't you have a job for me as well? We just like the mood so much.
Yeah. So I think that we're very proud of, and the exciting new chapter we have now is where we actually try and discover the market for ourselves. We've always sold through partners, but and we still will continue to sell through partners and support it as always. And that has been our Puck in K2. But now with the MicroQ that's come out and the Qantas series that we've started, it's really an opportunity for us to start looking to see how do we get more direct market feedback. Where do we find other areas maybe outside of noise and vibration, which our partners have been very much focused on, and see where that can go. And I think that's really this exciting opportunity we have before us, and also the need to maybe start bringing ourselves to the front a little bit more, which we've never had a need to do before.
Yes. And the area too which we're very strong is actually the area of stress analysis and measurement using Wheatstone bridges, strain gauges, pressure gauges, that type of thing. And one of our products was a Wheatstone bridge module, where our partners aren't necessarily strong in that area. Their market is not focused in that area, yet our natural market has always been focused there.
Yeah, and I think because our systems are so modular, we are able to present our same systems we've sold for so many years, plus some of our new innovations that we're bringing out, and be able to specify that for different areas, because we're able to take what we do here plus what you do somewhere else, and maybe even with new partners.
Yes.
To be able to bring new approaches to the market. And I think that's really been part of the longevity of our system, the scalability of our system, that people don't throw things away, they actually sort of build off it. And often I've seen the companies over the last 15 years that I've been involved in it, that they actually keep building on to what they already have, and over time able to upgrade, and over time able to introduce new technologies, which allows us also a really strong base to go into the market now, but also gives us a platform to bring out some of our new innovations into a world where we haven't really been before.
Well, the market is a broad market, so some people want to write their own software, some people want to have software already written for them, some people want to have only a few channels now, maybe a lot more channels later on, and some people need to have 1,000 channels immediately. And as what you mentioned now, the modularity allows them to start off with only a few channels and enlarge that system either inside the same mainframe or the same chassis, and then or else to add more mainframes, which allows them to then synchronize with that current mainframe they already have.
Yeah. Or take the same mainframe one day and use it as a distributed measurement, and the next day use it as a small mobile system.
Indeed.
And bring it through and build on what you have already in your cupboard almost, or your closet.
Yes. So the hardware is designed in such a way that it will always suit the customer's needs now and also in the future. And being modular also makes us being flexible, so if we need to add another module, we don't have to change the whole big board, we just change a small part of that board. So it's been a very good design design feature. And the same is that we've tried to design in a very, very compact fashion. And it allows one to run in a big lab situation quite easily because we'll easily fit in. Sometimes there are big cost savings because it fits into a smaller place. You can also distribute your equipment around the testing of the device under test. And you can also use the system in a mobile environment where they have to be smaller to fit into a small thing, whether it's a helicopter or whether it's a motor car. That space is not a problem. That's basically where we started with MilliBM. Their systems at that stage were probably 10 times bigger in volume and probably mass than what our systems were.
And those were the Sony and the Heim and the VXI systems.
VXI, especially the VXI system.
Yeah.
And the VXI system, probably at that stage, our quality was the same as them, but they were far, far bigger. And then as we became better, we were able to pump all our development money back again, all our income. We were able to pump all our income back again into research. We eventually became better in terms of signal quality.
And I think that's one of the big benefits of having a company that you started, that you've been passionate about for all of those years, and being able to decide where that income goes and be able to feed it back in. And I think that's made us much stronger. At the same time, we've only had to ever focus on the hardware because our partners focus on the software. So that's also given us the ability to really be aggressive in our innovation, and be able to focus on the quality there too. And now, after doing this for a period of what has been 20 years with MilliBM, and I think the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've been ready to go out to explore other opportunities as well.
Yes.
And to add to the strong partnership that we have.
Yes, indeed.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Exciting times.
Yes. We look forward to a good future,
Yes.
especially in the US.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.